Welcome children to this class. Good day to all of you. The other day in this lesson, the rat trap, we had seen that the peddler, who is the rat trap seller, he took shelter in the old man's cottage, and that old man was the crofter in the iron mill, and previously he was the worker over there, and he showed him the money, and this fellow peddler, he stole it and he ran away from there. And then in the night he took shelter in the Ramshaw Iron Company, iron work, and there blacksmith and his assistant was working. There he lay down near the furnace and he was taking rest because he wanted shelter in the night. And it was the time for the ironmaster to come for the inspection, because he used to come for the inspection in the daytime and in the night time also, because he was very much particular that good material should come out of his iron work, and it should go in the market. So after that we'll read what happened when he entered. Naturally, the first thing he saw was the tall rat muffin who had eased his way so close, and this rat trap seller, he was sitting so close to the furnace that his clothes that were wet, the steam was coming out of it. You must have seen that when the cooking is going on and you keep some wet thing on the cover of the lid, on the lid of the vessel, then you see the steam comes out. So in the same way, the steam was coming out from his clothes. And the ironmaster, he did not let him lay down over there like the blacksmith did not say anything to him. He went close to him, he removed his hat, that he was keeping the hat on his face, and he was resting to see the face of the person. But of course it is you, Nils Olof. And the ironmaster, he was so astonished, and he took the name of a person and he said, "It's you?" And he said, "How you look? The way you're looking, in rags, in dirty things, you have got the rat traps with you." So he was very much surprised to see him. The man with the rat trap had never seen him, and the fellow peddler, he was wondering why this man is calling me by the name, and I don't know who this name was, because it was not his name. But it occurred to him that if the fine gentleman thought he was the old acquaintance, he might perhaps throw him a couple of krona. So this peddler, he thought that it's good enough that he's thinking me to be his old acquaintance that he knew from, he knew previously. So if it is that, so he'll be helping him with few more ronas to him, he'll give him ronas, and therefore he did not want to undeceive him at all. So he did not want to give his identity. He kept his identity secret. Yes, God knows things have gone downhill with me. So the peddler said, "Yes, the days are very bad, and previously I was quite nice, and now the days have gone down and I have to suffer. You should not have resigned from the regiment," said the ironmaster. So the ironmaster said, "It's because of you only. You resigned from the regiment, you went away from there, and that's why your condition has become like this. So you did a very big mistake by leaving the regiment." And then he asked him, "What happened to you after that?" "To go along up to the manor house and be received by the owner like an old regimental comrade, however, did not please the tramp." So this ironmaster, he said, "You don't stay over here, you come with me to my house and live over there, stay over there." And the fellow, he did not want to go over there, because he thought that if people will come to know about him, then he will be called a deceiver, and then he'll be punished or he'll be sent to the jail. The police will come and he'll be sent to the jail. So he said, no, I don't want to go. So Ironmaster got very angry at him. And the peddler, he was thinking of the 30 rouners that were there in the pocket. And he said to himself to go to the Mana's house, and then it will be like throwing himself in the lion's den, because he had fallen into a trap. He had stolen the honor of the old man, and now he was being called by the Mana in his house to give shelter. He was given shelter over there to come and stay with them. So he did not want to go there. The Ironmaster assumed, Ironmaster thought that he's feeling embarrassed because he's looking miserable, his clothes are dirty, his clothes are in rags, so he doesn't want to go over there. So he said, please don't worry, my house is fine. And he said, Elizabeth is dead. And Elizabeth was the wife of the Ironmaster. And he told him that she is dead and gone, and my boys are abroad, my children, my son, they are working abroad, and only my oldest daughter is with me. So he and the oldest daughter lives in the house. We are just saying that it was too bad we didn't have any company for Christmas. And he said to him that I was just talking to my daughter, that it's so bad that this Christmas we are all alone. Nobody is there to give us company. So if you come and give us company for Christmas, it will be good, and our food will be shared with you, and it will disappear faster. But the stranger said no. And peddler said, no, I don't want to come. And the Ironmaster, he did not insist him anymore. He said, okay, whatever you want you can do. It looks as though, Captain, he said to him, Captain, I think you want to stay, you want to spend your night with these blacksmith and his assistant. And then he turned and he went away from there laughing. Then it was not more than half an hour before they heard the sound of carriage. When the Ironmaster went away, just after half an hour, again they heard the sound of the carriage. And a new guest came in. Now this time the Ironmaster did not come in. The new master came in, but this time it was his daughter. She would have better powers of persuasion than he himself. So the Ironmaster, he sent his daughter. He thought that she'll persuade him to come to the house, so he sent her. She entered, followed by a valet, carrying on his arm a big fur coat, and behind her was her assistant. He was carrying the fur coat in his hand. And this girl, she was not at all pretty, but she was quite modest and she looked shy. In the forge, everything was just as it had been early in the evening. So the forge was having the same condition that was there in the evening. The master blacksmith and his apprentice still sat on their bench, and both the blacksmith and his apprentice, they were working, and they were putting the charcoal inside. The stranger had stretched himself out on the floor and lay with a piece of pig iron under his head and his hat pulled over his eyes. And this peddler, he was lying down and he had a piece of iron under his head, and his hat was on his face, and he was just sleeping. As soon as the young girl caught sight of him, she went up and lifted his hat. And when the girl, she saw him lying over there, she, like a father, she lifted the hat from his face. The man was used to sleeping with one eye open, and that fellow's one eye was open. He jumped up because he was quite frightened. Then this girl said, "My name is Edla Williamson. And this is the daughter of ironmaster. She said, my father came home and he told me that you were sleeping here in the forge. You want to stay here. And so I asked him permission to bring you from the forge to the home. She looked at him compassionately, very friendly way, lovingly. She was looking at him, and her eyes, and with her heavy eyes, then she noticed that the man was afraid. And then she found that the fellow, the peddler, he was feeling a little bit afraid, as if he had stolen something from somewhere, and there was fright in his eyes that he'll be put in the jail, and how he's going to escape. Or he might have escaped from the jail. Either he might have stolen somebody's something, or he might have escaped from the jail. These two things she found from his eyes. She thought and added quickly, you may be sure, Captain, that you will be allowed to leave us as freely as you have come. Only please stay with us over Christmas Eve. So when she saw the fright in his eyes, she said to him that you don't worry, as freely you are coming to our place, in the same way, in that free manner only you will leave my house. You don't worry about it. Nothing will happen to you. And I only want you to stay with us for the Christmas Eve, and after that you can leave the place. She said this in such a friendly manner that the rat-trap peddler must have felt confidence in her. And she spoke so nicely, so convincing way, that he was very much convinced and he agreed to go with her. It would never have occurred to me that you would bother with me yourself, miss, he said. I will come at once. So he said, okay, you are bothering for me, so I will come at once with you. He accepted the fur coat, which the valet handed him with a deep bow, threw it over his rags, followed the young lady out of the carriage, without granting the astonished blacksmith so much as a glance. And then the assistant of that girl, he offered him the fur coat. He put the fur coat over his rags and then walked behind the woman. But while he was riding up to the Mana's house, he had evil forebodings. And while they were riding towards the house, the evil things were coming in his mind. Why the devil did I take the fellow's money? So he was getting angry at himself that why he stole the money. He thought, now I am sitting in the trap and will never get out. And it was like a trap for him, sitting in the carriage, and he thought he would never come out of it. The next day was Christmas Eve. When the ironmaster came into the dining room for breakfast, he probably thought with satisfaction that his old regimental comrade, whom he had run across so unexpectedly. So next day was a Christmas Eve, and the ironmaster, he was sitting on the dining table. He was waiting for the breakfast, and he was thinking that it's so nice that the captain has come over there, and he was unexpected, and he was feeling very great that the fellow has come to give them company. First of all, we must see to it that he gets a little flesh on his bones, he said to his daughter. So he said to his daughter that let's see, we'll keep him with us till he becomes a little healthy. And the daughter was busy setting the table. And then we must see that he gets something else to do than to run around the country selling rat traps. Then he said, okay, after that we'll help him to begin some business, because I don't want him to roam about selling rat traps. It was clear that things have gone downhill with him as bad as that, said the daughter. So the daughter said, so bad condition he is living in. Last night I did not think there was anybody about him to show that he had once been an educated man. And she said that nobody was there to tell him that he was an educated man. He was looking as if he was illiterate. You must have patience, my little girl, said the father. As soon as he gets clean and dressed up, you will see something different. So the father said, you don't worry about it, daughter. And what will happen after getting ready, after having bath, changing the clothes, wearing good clothes and all, you will see that he will look different. Last night he was naturally embarrassed. So last night he was in bad condition, he was wearing rags and all, he was dirty. So he must be feeling embarrassed, and the tramp manner will fall away from him with the tramp clothes. So the clothes, with the removing of the clothes, his ways will also fall down. So he will look like an educated man with good clothes. Just as he said this, the door opened and the stranger entered. And while father and daughter, they were talking, and this, what the father said, as soon as he said this, the door opened and the stranger came in. Yes, now he was truly clean and well dressed. So now the fellow, he was wearing nice clothes, he was nice, clean, means he was bathed by the valet, his hair was cut, he was shaved, and he was wearing the suit of the ironmaster. He wore white shirt and starched collar and whole shoes, and he was wearing nice clothes of the ironmaster. But although his guest was now so well groomed, the ironmaster did not seem pleased. Now he was looking very nice, but the ironmaster was not at all happy. So do you know why? Because the fellow whom he thought to be his acquaintance was not his acquaintance. He was somebody else. So here the ironmaster, he got very upset. He got angry at him. He looked at him and then he shouted at him. He said to himself that he was mistaken because of the furnace. Light was not there, proper light was not there, and he had beard and all, he was looking dirty. And then he shouted at him, what does this mean? What do you mean by this? The stranger made no attempt to dissimulate. The stranger, he did not say anything. He saw at once that the splendor had come out to an end. So whatever the splendor he had in wearing those good clothes and staying over there for the night, for spending Christmas, all that splendor went off. Now what happened? It is not my fault, son. He said to him, it's not my fault. I told you that I don't know you, but you never listened to me. I never pretended what I am. But you forced me. And your daughter, she begged, she pleaded, and she brought me over here. I did not want to come, but you brought me over here. Well, said the ironmaster, hesitating a little, it was not quite honest. You must admit that I should not be surprised if the sheriff would like to have something to say in the matter. So the ironmaster said, well, it's not honest either, that you're not an honest man. I'll be calling the policeman and then you can tell him whatever you want. The tramp took a step further and struck the table with his fist. So this peddler, he got so angry that he banged the table with his fist. Now I'm going to tell you, Mr. Ironmaster, how things are. Then he got angry at him and he said, now I'll tell you. The whole world is nothing but a big trap. And he said, this world is a big trap. All the good things that are offered to you are nothing but cheese, rinds and bits of pork, set out to drag a poor fellow. So he wanted to tell him that I'm a poor fellow and I was living my life happily, but you put me in trouble and you brought me over here and you have put the pates in front of me, and now you want the sheriff to come here and lock me in the prison. So Mr. Ironmaster must remember that a day may come that when you yourself may want to get a big piece of pork and then you will get caught in the trap. Then he said to him that one day will come, that same thing will happen to you. You will be caught in the trap, a bait will be set for you and you will be caught in the trap. So I think children, this is quite enough, and I hope you will understand the lesson. So I'll divide this into 3 parts. First I thought of dividing it only in 2 parts, but it being little bit tough and little bit longer, I want to divide it into 2 parts only. So that's all for today children. Good day and goodbye.